Our next guest, an actor and a writer who is as much loved in Hollywood as he is on the London stage. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Room with a View, Shakespeare in Love. Some of the films he's graced, not to mention playing Charles Dickens in the recent series of Doctor Who. We first met in 1985, Blimey O'Reilly, when critics seemed more interested in his physique than his performances. The review today mentioned your physical presence. There's something about a spare tyre bulging over his shorts.
That's right. That was only the beginning. That was only the beginning, Terry. There's a review in the Financial Times. I don't know who reads it, but no stockbrokers will come to the Bush Theatre, presumably. But it said there's a rather tender love-making scene in it, and it said that the experience was rather like watching a gnat mount a hippopotamus. And there was another, My Body is a great favourite with reviewers. I did a play called Total Eclipse where I played the French poet Verlaine, and the reviewer of the Sunday Times said, Mr. Callow's stomach is a dreadful warning to all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Callow.
Similar than I was.
Look at you. There isn't a pick on you now, is there?
No. Well, I listened to all those critics, you see.
You did, but the years have been kind.
Well, yes. To all of us, Terry.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you came. As acting, do you think, rather as life has become more about, and politics, it's about image now, how you look.
Yeah.
Has acting become more like that?
Yes, it has to a certain extent. I know when I go to drama schools nowadays, I always think, where are the fat ones? Because everybody has become gym addicted.
Where are the Timothy Spalls?
Yes,
like that?
but exactly. Where are the young Simon Callows, you might say? I mean,
well, I didn't want to say that.
But you know, people with odd shapes. That acting is supposed to be a reflection of life and the way people look, you know, across the whole population.
Well, are you you have lost weight? You do look trim. Is that because, unless you're slim, you're not going to get any work?
No. No, that's not why I don't get any work.
Nonsense.
The reason is, if you want to do the job of acting on stage, particularly, you have to be healthy for it. You have to be in good shape. So it's not
standing around with a cup of tea and saying, anyone for tennis?
I haven't done that for quite a long time, I have to say, Terry. I mean, for example, I've just been doing pantomime, and 12 shows a week, and that is like running an Olympic race every day.
Why do you do this? You're an established actor, you're a film star.
But
you're
it's fantastic.
Famous. Why would you do panto?
Oh, no, panto's the treat. For any actor. I mean, it's apart from the physical exhaustion of it, the joy of the relationship that you have with the audience. And the fact that the audience, this is the wonderful thing about it, of all ages, all classes, all sorts of people come to panto and become children again. Because the last time I did panto was 33 years ago, and in Lincoln, and at the end of Aladdin, Abanazar, which is the part that I played then and have just played, is the wickedest man in the world, and he gets shorn of all his wickedness. And so I tripped on lightly with the daffodil, and the charming young children of Lincoln shouted at me, "Shut off, Puff!" Then they threw bottles at me, Coca-Cola bottles. Well, they didn't do that, I'm very glad to say, at the Richmond Theatre. They're a slightly more restrained kind of infant there. But there's a wonderful thing. There's, of course, a lot of sauciness in panto, and double entendre are what it's all about. And at the beginning, I said, well, I want to make the genie appear. How do I make the genie appear? And, of course, the audience screams back at me, rub it, rub it, rub it. And I say, you want me to rub my ring? And the audience, one night a man shouted out at me, "It's behind you."
Very funny.
Well, would that have been a far cry from what you wanted when you first strayed into the theatre? Because it was Sir Laurence Olivier that encouraged you.
Yeah, yes, but you know, Sir Laurence Olivier loved all that. I mean, he did The Entertainer, where he played Archie Rice, great music hall comedian. Almost all actors adore comedy, comedians, the music hall, variety, all of that. We're just not good enough to do it for the most part. You have to be really, really good to be a stand-up comic. But in a pantomime, you get the opportunity to kind of play those games with the audience. It's fabulous.
You've been in so many things, but Ace Ventura with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
What could he have been like?
Mad as a hatter. I mean, absolutely obsessed with new comedy, and brilliant. I mean, a staggeringly inventive man. But quite literally, what would happen is that Jim would come in. You have the script, you know your lines or whatever, and Jim would suddenly start to improvise, and it could literally go on for half an hour. And what came out of his mouth, I'm worried about what's in his brain, because you don't see a lot of that stuff on the movie. They cut it, you know. But he just he gets possessed. It's extraordinary. It's strange. It's not like acting. You just have to sort of wait for it to stop, and then you come in with your line. Exactly.
Yes, as indeed I'm waiting for you. I could say, join me again for more memorable bon mots from the excellent Simon Callow. You'd be mad to miss this. They're cheering now entirely spontaneously. Welcome back to Wogan Now and Then. Splendid actor, famed author, renowned raconteur, Simon Callow. Now, as an actor, you have in the past shown that you're not afraid to bear it all if the role requires it and the director demands it.
Exactly. Under duress.
It was a subject I asked you about 20 years ago, 1986. Now, you do the old full frontal nude scene, which we refer to, and I've no wish to turn into a sort of male Joan Rivers here, but... I mean, is it going to affect your chances of working again?
Well, you know, what I say about...
Because you whip the old clothes off in the beastly Beatitudes of Balthazar B as well, didn't you?
It's normally in my contract.
What have you got?
Well, you can't see the film. What I say is that when actors take their clothes off in public, it only proves the old saying that there are no small actors, only small parts.
Have you become, over the intervening years, a bit more discreet about exposing yourself?
Well, yes, I think I have. Again, as you so rightly said, occasionally when the script or the director requires it, one is obliged, perhaps, to divest oneself of one's garments in a modest and discreet way.
And how you delight in doing it.
No, but the outrage which follows... I did quite recently do a play at the Southwark Playhouse, and it was admittedly a very small theatre, so... It was a little bit, as they say, in your face. But absolutely a most discreet and delicate scene of such tenderness, played in a bath behind a gauze, in which I did indeed remove my clothes. And the Evening Standard said that people had fainted as a result of it. I suppose I should be flattered.
Yeah. What was the film that we saw you where you
A Room with a View?
A Room with a View.
Yes.
You died unashamed, all naked.
Well, Terry, this is the nefariousness of directors. They assured it was Rupert Graves and Julian Sands and myself, and we had a very solemn and lovely conversation with James Ivory, the director, just before, in which he made solemn avocations that we would be shot only from the waist upwards.
Swine.
And it wasn't until we actually saw the film, but...
Would you have insisted on a prosthetic?
Now you mention it, Terry. No, but the thing that really upset me in that was not so much the below the waist stuff, but it was just that they were both such young men in such fantastic physical shape, and the scene consisted, it seems, of a hippopotamus pursued by two gazelles, and I lost 2 stone after seeing myself in that film.
One of your favourite characters over the years, Charles Dickens.
Yes.
He's been your meal ticket.
He has. God bless him. Yeah.
What is it you love about him?
Well, you know, I first fell in love with Charles Dickens when I was a kid and had chicken pox. And you know how awful that is. You just want to scratch, you can't sleep, or anything like that. I thought I'd never laugh again. And somebody gave me a copy of the Pickwick Papers. And I just never stopped laughing then. And the chicken pox was just banished. So I thought Charles Dickens was a good egg from then on. And then later, somebody approached me with a project to do with something that I didn't know about, which was that Charles Dickens had been one of the greatest storytellers, not on the page, but in the flesh. He used to perform his own novels in front of huge, huge audiences, of 5,000 in some cases. Yeah. And he was almost like the Rolling Stones of his day. People flocked to see him. They fought. There was a death when somebody tried to snatch a ticket from somebody else, and audiences fainted. It was extraordinary. So somebody said, let's try and reconstruct this on the television. And so we did. I did 2 series on 2 consecutive Christmases called An Audience with Charles Dickens and then Christmas with Charles Dickens or whatever. And it seemed to me that it would be rather wonderful to do it on stage. But instead of dressing up as Charles Dickens on stage, what I did was a show called The Mystery of Charles Dickens, which was based... The idea for the show was based on the great Irish actor, you'll know him well, Michael McLearmore, did a show called The Importance of Being Oscar, in which he stood up and talked about Oscar Wilde and then became all these different characters. So I did the same thing with The Mystery of Charles Dickens. I talked about Dickens, I became Mrs. Gamp and Mr. Pickwick and whoever, and also Charles Dickens. Yeah. And this, like the panto that I was talking about, released something. People have a response to Charles Dickens, which is quite visceral. Even people who now haven't read his books sort of know in their hearts who all these characters are and love them and embrace them. Scrooge and all the rest of them.
What's the strangest job you've ever done? Strangest part you've ever taken?
I played Princess Anne once. That was very strange. I also once played a detective inspector who performed a Margaret Thatcher cabaret in a strip club.
How was your Princess Anne? Give us a touch of your Princess.
My Princess Anne, well, it was very much like Princess Anne. It was, and it was a very strange little play about. It was called Hippos, and it was a send-up of the play Equus, in which Princess Anne's horse had fallen at the first hurdle, and she had to shoot it. There was her inner anguish. Shall I shoot him? Shan't I shoot him? Can I bear to shoot him? It was ridiculous. One was young.
So, what's next for you then?
I'm doing a wonderful play by Noel Coward called Present Laughter, which has not been done for some while. It's one of his 4 great plays. I'm doing that on tour all the way across England, and I've just written the 2nd volume of a biography of Orson Welles. It's called Hello, Americans, and it comes out in May, so I'm flogging that around a lot.
It's been a pleasure seeing you again. Simon Callow. Thank you.